Hello.
Hi, this is Patty and Keith with Sleepy Glen Homestead. We are going to talk a little bit today about the finishing touches that Keith put on the greenhouses and what we're using each greenhouse for. So we'll be talking about the wire mesh, how Keith put it on and what its purposes are. He also built some beautiful raised beds in there. And I think he made some really good uses out of the amount of space that we have in there. And we'll talk about some solar lights that we put in there. And Keith added some little extra special things for me in there that we'll talk about. And we've got one greenhouse that we use for the hot house, and the other greenhouse we're using as the cool weather plants. So, are you ready?
We're ready.
Let's get in the
All
greenhouse.
right, let's go. Hey guys. So today we're going to explain the wire mesh and the purpose of it. Okay, we're out here in Kentucky and we got lots of little critters. The forest is 20 feet behind us. So during the construction of the greenhouse, before I had most of the stuff up, we took the wire mesh, which is 36 inches tall, and it ran, well, we got a 50-foot roll, so we have to worry about that. So anyways, all these, the wire mesh is stapled to the 2x4 support that holds the roll-up windows. So it's stapled all the way from beginning to end. And then before we put the dirt in here and made the beds, the mesh goes all the way to the ground, to the black flooring. So, and it's also stapled in there. So before we filled up the raised beds and before we framed the raised beds, we put the same material that we have here because we have leftovers. And we stapled that from the bottom of the 2x10 that's on, that frames the outside of the greenhouse. And we stapled it from the top to the bottom, kind of overlapped the bottom a little bit, because the wood on the inside is untreated, and the wood on the outside is treated wood. So we didn't want any of the chemicals from the treated wood to take a chance on seeping into the soil. So we wrapped the whole inside with this film right here. Then we put the mesh over top of it, stapled it in all the way down. It's nice and tight. So it is 1/8 inch hole mesh. So yeah, caterpillars can come in, a fly can come in, but we're keeping the rats, the raccoons, we're keeping all the big guys out. Okay, and so far it's worked. The garden is looking good. There's no holes, there's no moles, there's nothing really kind of fishing around in here. So that was a really good add-on bonus. It's really worth doing while you're doing your construction. It's really worth doing this. Okay, then we went ahead and framed the inside of the raised beds. We made it to where you can have maximum space and a little island in the middle and still walk all the way around and still be able to touch and reach all the plants. So that is framed with untreated wood, because it's it's inside the greenhouse. It's not really going to rot like the outside would, so we had no use for it, plus the chemicals. So we got that all framed up. Those are all used by L brackets and screws. Then we went ahead and got, Patty will tell you later about how much of the soil we got, but we filled it all the way up, 10 inches deep, all the way across the island, everything. This whole thing is filled up, and that's about it for that. But these little touch-ups, these little bonus things you do are just going to pay off in the end. Okay, critter guard, very important. Little chemical shield here if you use treated wood, very important. Another thing that we did is we put solar powered lights inside here just to give it a nice little look, and at nighttime it looks beautiful. So they're all hanging in every 4-foot section, and as you pull up the driveway, you look at both greenhouses, you can see just illumination is really beautiful. So that was just kind of a treat thing. It looked nice, It doesn't light it up, but it gives it enough light to where it's not pitch black. So anyways, that's what we did. Patty will tell you now about the fertilizer and such. All right, guys, another feature we did is when we had this greenhouse, when we ordered the greenhouse, We had it to where it had the supports for the doors, but we were going to build our own doors. So we built the door at a fence, wood fencing, and it came out beautiful. So as you can see, the greenhouse is kind of on an angle because of the slope we're in. So just kind of had to make the door, put the hinges on, kind of level it. It might look a little off, but the door's nice and straight. So we got our critter latch down there, and a little latch up here to open the door. And it's simply just on the frame, the wood all the way around the door just hits on the frame all the way around, except for the hinge side. I had to put another board here all the way down so the hinges would lay flat on the board support and flat on the door. Other than that, the door hinges right here, and on the bottom support. Just simple door. A little bit extra support here because we got some winds here. The squeak is custom. I'll show you how to do that next time. But then the latch works really good. And then, you know, at night we latch the bottom for the critters that can get their hands in there and stuff. So anyways, just little add-on things that you do. Take your time and do it. It's fun, and plus it makes your greenhouse look nice.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the soil that we use to fill our raised beds with. This soil is an organic soil, and it has an organic fertilizer that's good for 9 months, it says. I had to do some measuring, and I will put the formula that I used, because I found it online, but I'll make it useful for you. I'll put the formula right here. And I was actually really close. We got 54 bags of 2 cubic feet each for each greenhouse. So this greenhouse took 54 bags. Each bag was 2 cubic feet of soil, and the other greenhouse took 54 bags. Keith took our 16-foot utility trailer down, and he had it loaded. And when we got it in here, we all just, you know, stacked it and ripped it and unloaded it. But before we put the soil down, we had taken some small twigs that were around the property and leaves that were left over, and we sort of filled in the bottom. It wasn't very much, but I don't know, made me feel good that we were able to repurpose some of the things around our property. So that's what we have here. This soil is really nice. It's very light. I haven't found any kind of weeds growing in it yet. When we lived in Texas, we loved to go to Canton. What was it called?
Canton Trade Days.
Trade Days. And it was about an hour away from the house, but it was our time to get away from everybody and go do some shopping. And we were in the garage sale area, and I saw this, and I saw the number 8, and we all know who the number 8 driver was. Dale Sr. Yep. And so I asked the guy, he wanted $25 for this, and I said, come on, I'll give you $5. And he was like, no, I have to have 25. And I said, come on, I'll give you $5 for it. I said, I'm going to use it in my greenhouse. And so we got to talking about growing food, and we really hit it off. So he sold it to me for $5. And in here, I just keep like all my little fertilizers and little nicky-nacky things. And, you know, this is kind of useful. And Keith gave me a little table so that I could pile junk on here like I'm doing. But the way that he designed this greenhouse and the beds is so that I could have the middle bed and I could have a work area too. So I'm excited with my greenhouses. I know he was just as excited to build them for me, and I'm going to make great use of all of this and feed us really well.
Okay, just on another note, folks, doing greenhouses and all that stuff is a lot of fun, and you don't have to go out and buy brand new stuff like the file cabinet and the tables. It was really fun for us to go out looking for this, and we find these old rusty things. It just gives it the old rustic look. I mean, that was a fun trip. It just kind of makes it all kind of fold in place here.
Okay, cut.
And on another note, folks, when you hear me and Patty saying we're going to plant on the hill, that's the hill. I don't know if she's showed you yet, but that's the hill. You know, it's probably a a half acre of hard labor. So just letting you know.